This podcast represents the opinions of the hosts of the Laugh Cry Club and guests on the show. The content here should not be taken as medical advice and is for informational purposes only. And because each person is so unique, please consult your healthcare professional for any medical questions. While we make every effort to ensure that the information we share is accurate, we welcome any comments, suggestions, or correction of errors. Welcome back, everybody, to the Laugh Cry Club. I'm Joy.
I'm Rebecca.
And Chelsea, we love you.
We do. We love you, Chelsea.
And we really miss you. So
Yes.
Just know that you are missed. We're sending you all the love in the world. We've been in touch with Chelsea, of course, but we just really miss having her here on the show.
Yeah.
And I know the listeners do too. So sending you big hugs. Well, if you're new to the show, welcome. We are 3 licensed therapists all over the globe and have just a world of knowledge in mental health and trying to help people feel better.
Yeah, we have like 60 years collective, right? Because 20 each. So that's 60 years of knowledge in the therapy world.
We are fully retired age if you put all
But
of
we're
our
not retired.
experience. Unfortunately, not
we
yet.
didn't get a trust fund, unfortunately. And let's just say, in this line of work, it's not a line of work that you probably get to retire early in.
No, it's not the most lucrative career
No.
path, but here we are. We are doing it because we love to help people and we love to normalize the human experience. It's the whole reason we started the show. And because we have experience under our belt, we thought we would pass that along and make therapy not as scary as people might think it is if you've never been. So we start every episode with a laugh and a cry of the week. And then our topic this week, we're going to talk a little bit about motivation. I thought it would be a good topic because it's mid-year. We're like smack dab in the middle of 2025, maybe reflecting on the first half of the year, reflecting on how we want the second half of the year to go. You know, not that we always have control over that, but in terms of goals and things that we want to accomplish. So, Rebecca, why don't you start with a laugh cry? I went last time, so we're just going to take turns.
We're just going to take turns. Okay, so I think probably most of our listeners know, if you've listened, and Joy knows, that I take my dogs for a walk around my neighborhood and I see all the other neighborhood dogs and I like to give them names. And so I'm like, oh, hey, there's Sherry today, which I've learned Sherry's real name is Cuddles. But so Sherry.
I love that you name them.
I do. I name them. And actually their owner once, because it's like, yeah, we call her Sherry. What's her name? And they thought I had said Terry. So they started calling their dog Terry because they thought it was funny. And then one day they realized that we call their dog Sherry. And they're like, oh, it's Sherry. And so then they started calling their own dog Sherry. But their dog's name's Cuddles. But
okay, so you basically renamed the dog for them.
Yeah, like several times. So we name all the neighborhood dogs. I'm really sad because there was this one house and there was a dog that always barks at us, always through the windows. Like they're not outside, they're in their houses. And its name's Rodney. My name for the dog, I have no idea what the dog's name is, but I've named these dogs Rodney, Snoop, and Angela Bassett. I am really sad that it looks like they moved.
No.
I know, and I didn't even get to say goodbye.
Oh,
so
no, I hate when that happens.
Rodney, Snoop, and Angela Bassett no longer live in my neighborhood.
Oh, that's really sad. That's really
I
sad.
know.
Or like whenever you see a neighborhood dog walking around and then you see, this happened at our old neighborhood. I got to know the dogs really well in that area. And then one day they're not walking them anymore. You see them walking alone and they're like, oh, they passed away. And I'm like, oh, there was a few senior dogs in my neighborhood that I just grew so attached to. And I was like, oh no, they passed away. It just like makes me so sad.
That's so sad. That's so sad. I thought maybe that happened to the little dog Gremlin that lives at the corner.
Oh yes, I remember Gremlin.
And I was like, we hadn't seen Gremlin like when it started to get kind of hot here back in, maybe like in March sometime. We didn't see Gremlin in the mornings because generally Gremlin likes to bark at us through their fence. And I'm like, oh no, did Gremlin die? And Robin's like, well, maybe Gremlin's just inside because it started to get hot. Maybe they've closed off the doggy door. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's what it is. Because I'm like, I really hope Gremlin didn't die.
I know.
And guess what? I saw Gremlin not too long ago. So Gremlin is still going strong, barking at everybody. I mean, still smoking cigarettes, chain smoker daily, I am sure, by Gremlin's bark, because it's this little, probably 10-pound dog. And it sounds like a chain smoking old woman. So you know the picture of like just smoking nonstop.
I think of the lady in Beetlejuice who worked at the afterlife window.
Yes, that's her.
It was the lady. No, it was the lady that did the like consulting, and then she had the smoke coming out of her neck. That's what I think of.
That's Gremlin, but in a tiny 10-pound cute little dog. Totally, you would love it. But yeah, that was my cry because I'm sad that those three are gone. And I have to say, Angela Bassett was a Bassett, by the way.
Oh, I love that you named her Angela Bassett.
I mean, it was a little lemon. It was a lemon Bassett, so it was super cute.
Yeah. So well, I hope they're thriving wherever they are.
I hope so. I mean, gosh, Rodney, he's probably got new people to bark at. So, yeah, my laugh has to do with, I don't know if anybody out there that watches the WNBA, but I watch all the time. I have the WNBA app. So most evenings after work, I'm watching basketball, women's basketball, and it's so entertaining. And there was a game just the other day between Fever and the Connecticut Suns. Wow, it got really out of hand. There are so many memes going around. It's in the news. Check it out. It became like an all-out brawl situation.
There were
2 fights where people came off the bench. And so the Fever has like Lexi Hull, Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, tons of other, Leah Boston, just tons of really great talent. And then the Connecticut Suns have a player, J.C. Sheldon, and then I forget her first name, but last name's Mayberry. J.C. Sheldon and Caitlin Clark were both in the Big Ten in college, so they have been rivals for a very long time. Of course, they're guarding each other. It just becomes so heated. The refs aren't calling fouls. The coaches have said, like, you guys need to start calling the fouls. This is going to get out of hand. And I find it was comical because I couldn't believe it was happening. That the fight happens, the first fight happens, and because somebody fouled Caitlin Clark, Caitlin pushed somebody, then somebody comes off the bench, Mayberry, and just like body slams Caitlin Clark to the ground. You would think it's an automatic ejection, but it's not.
Yeah.
Then they take forever reviewing the play, like the refs, like they're like talking. Yeah. It's like 10 minutes. Like figure it out. I feel like if you come off the bench and you body check somebody, you should probably get ejected. No ejection.
That's
game continues, fouling.
Interesting.
Brewing. It's coming down to like the last minutes. The Fever are totally winning this game, probably by 20 points at this point. J.C. Sheldon steals the ball, running down the court. Sophie Cunningham basically does a really hard foul and like grabs her around the neck and throws her to the ground. It's
like
kind of like an
catfighting. Oh
yes,
my
it's kind
God.
of like an FU for messing with
Body
our girl
slamming.
Caitlin because their team is pretty protective. And then all of a sudden, all the other players are coming in. It's right by the fans. Security is getting involved. The refs are trying to get in there. Assistant coaches jump off the Fever bench trying to. But Kofi Cunningham and J.C. Sheldon have each other like by the heads and necks.
So now it's turned into like a wrestling match. Yeah.
So now all the memes are like Sophie Cunningham is the enforcer for the Fever team, and like it's a WWE wrestling thing, and like the memes are freaking hilarious right now. I'm telling you what, I think I'm gonna watch the game again because it was so freaking entertaining with the fights. Like I couldn't believe it was happening. I don't think it was so heated that all of you out there, if you watch the game, you know what I'm talking about. Like it was pretty crazy. So now everybody's on the refs that there should have been some
this game.
Yeah. So it ended up being that eventually there were 3 ejections. Like Sophie Cunningham got ejected, J.C. Sheldon, somebody else off the Sun got ejected for the last fight. There were several technicals. Yeah, it was the craziest game with so many ejections. But the person that should have been ejected originally didn't. But now after the fact, they're saying, yep, you should have been ejected too. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
It was so
fun.
It was so fun. So
that is really fun.
Yeah, that was so exciting. And all the memes now just keep coming.
Yeah. Don't you love that? It's kind of like when, I don't know if we talked about this last time, but like all the crazy tweets that Trump and Elon did where I was okay, this is really sad, but also the content that came out of it was so great.
Oh yeah. Some of the content's gold. It's just like, and that, what's crazy is during that game after the first situation happen. Anytime JC Sheldon or Mayberry had the ball for the Connecticut Sun, because they were playing at the Fever home court, they booed continuously. So people are dribbling. When JC gets the ball, boo, like constant. Pass it off, stop. Goes back to JC, constantly booing. It was like freaking hilarious how much the crowd was involved in this. So
they were getting so into it. And
I was waiting for the crowd to jump in
and start jump in,
having a big brawl. So those are my laughs and cries. How about you?
How fun. Well, I have some really good laughs this week. I went to Maryland last week for family time, and my brother had a change of command. He's in the military, and so we all flew out for that ceremony. And so my laugh was on the way there. So the flight out, I like to get to the airport really early, especially at the Denver International Airport.
What's really early?
It's like a good 2 hours padding time, meaning I get to the gate no less than like having a good hour before we board even. Like that's to me is a good padding time. Like so where I know for sure that I'm giving myself tons of time to get through security because Denver International Airport is insane sometimes, right? Like I think it's like the 6th largest airport anyway. So it's busy, but I was cutting it a little close for comfort just based off of I had to drop Butters off in the morning to the cat sitter. And I was like, well, I'm going to be just like a smidge running tight, but I think I'll still be okay. You know, so I'm like kind of doing the math in my head of like what time I'm going to arrive. I get there with like a good hour to get through security before we have to board, which to me was like cutting it close. Usually I like to be at the gate an hour beforehand, but I was like, all right, I got an hour to get through security. I think I should be okay. I have clear. And I'm not checking a bag, so I just had to go through clear. Well, I get inside, and it is mayhem. When I tell you mayhem, it may have well been summer break, spring break, Christmas, and Thanksgiving all in one, like shebang bang. It was so busy, so busy. So I get to security, and I go through the clear line, and I always forget this, and I don't know why. Like, I need to travel more often or something, but I always forget that there's downstairs, they have clear, but it's clear without TSA pre, meaning you have to take your shoes off, you're near computers and all that shit, right? Which is so stupid. But upstairs has TSA and clear, meaning the clear line gets you both. So I get into this clear line. She goes, oh, just reminder, this is the one without TSA pre. And I'm looking at the line and I'm like, ugh. It was like a decent line. It wasn't a really like intense line, but it was enough to where I'm like, I don't want to take off my shoes and my computer and my whatever. So I was like, I'm just going to run upstairs. I'm going to go to the upstairs line. So I get to the upstairs line. I kid you not, the clear line was around the building. It was like 5 times as long to get through clear. And I'm like, I'm not going to make it. I'm looking at my watch and I'm like, there's no way I'm going to make it through this line. So I book it back downstairs. And by then the line was growing a little bit longer, which I was kicking myself because I was like, had I just stayed here, I would have been halfway through the line by now.
But you never know, right?
You just never know. And it was so funny because there was this guy behind me that was following me doing the same thing. Okay. And when we got to the top, when we got to upstairs, he looked at me. He's like, do you think downstairs is faster? And I'm like, yes. And so we booked it together back down to the second line. And so I get in the line and I am... So, I mean, it has been a while since it has been this busy. I think it's been at least a few years since I've seen it this busy. And when I am late, I get extremely agitated and anxious. Like being late for something turns up my anxiety level to 1,000. So I'm looking at my watch. I'm doing the math of like how fast it's taking for people to get through. And it is taking for effing ever for people to get through their clear. At one point, I'm like, I should just jump in the TSA. The TSA pre-line was extremely long as well. There was no short line for any of this. There was no working through any of this.
You could have
there's no shortcut.
Did you have to go through clear, or could you have just gone through the TSA
I could have gone
line?
through TSA pre, but it was also wrapped around the building. It was like one of those like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then it ended and it wrapped around the building. Like, so it wasn't even like, you know, everything was just completely bananas. So, but the TSA line was moving quickly, the pre. So the pre line was moving faster. I saw it because they had more agents checking them. Where clear, you only have one agent passing you through into the security lines, into the whatever, the scanners. What are they called?
The body scanners. The
body scanners, yeah.
The
and
bomb
so
detectors.
the luggage scanning. So So I'm looking at this and I am just like, this is not moving fast enough. I am freaking out. And I am just getting so agitated because I'm watching people take their fucking time. And I'm just like, oh. So finally I get through, but it is boarding time. Like my watch, and I'm watching the guy like look at the bags, and then he's like, whose bag is this? I need to check your bag. And I'm like, give me my fucking bag. And I am just like that crazy person that's about
everything
to lose
like
their
slows
shit
down too, right? Like, whether they were really being slow, it just feels like everybody starts like, hi,
totally. And then he did it again. He's like, someone else, whose bag is this? And I just wanted to yell and be like, is anyone like not in a rush? Because I need to go.
Can we
of course,
speed this process up or move me along?
Yeah, move me along. So anyway, I finally book it. I book it down. I get to the gate. I had to book it to the gate. The other thing that is kind of like my own doing was I had upgraded myself to first class because the upgrade fee was not that expensive. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to treat myself to board first, have a stress-free experience, especially when I'm traveling to the East Coast. It's a longer flight. I'm going to get a meal. I'm not going to have to worry about eating, all of that stuff.
Okay.
And so one of my other stressors when I travel is I really enjoy boarding first because then I don't have to worry about luggage space. When I'm doing a carry-on, which is most of the time I do a carry-on, I don't have to worry about luggage space. That gives me such anxiety as well. If I board in there, we don't have room, you have to check your bag. That whole thing just drives me nuts. This is such a lesson in letting go that I have a hard time with. So I run to the gate because I'm like, I did not pay this much money to not board first. I am boarding first.
You're like, hold that plane.
No one else board until I get to use my group one because I was like, I am come hell or high water.
Sorry, we have a delay on this flight due to passenger seat number 2A. Everybody needs to stand in line while 2A boards. Please hold.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I book it. And of course the gate is at the very end of the terminal. So I'm just running and I'm sweating.
They actually moved the gate even further for you.
Further, just for me.
Let's build onto this terminal to make this really hard.
Let's make this harder for her, and let's go ahead and just make this the last gate in the terminal. So finally made it, but I get in line and I'm sweating, and I'm like, God damn it, I'm such an idiot. So I made it. I got to board first. Fine, right? So I get on the plane, and I'm kind of frazzled because also I was in seat 1A, so I can't, whatever. I booked it incorrectly where I picked the wrong seat because I don't like having nothing in front of you to where you can't put your bag underneath the seat in front of you. So I actually had to get 2 bags in the overhead bin, right? I had my backpack and then I had my suitcase. So I couldn't put my my bag in front of me because there was just the bulkhead. So I was putting my suitcase in the overhead bin and then my backpack, and I somehow jammed my finger into the overhead bin and I started bleeding everywhere. My finger just got sliced open. And
oh my God.
and I'm one of the first to board, of course. And I'm and I had to pee really bad because I didn't have time to go to the bathroom. So I'm a hot mess, and I look down. I'm walking up to the bathroom before I sit down. I was like, okay, I have enough time to where, since I boarded first, I can just sneak right into the bathroom because it's right there. So I asked the flight attendant, I saw my finger just completely gushing blood. So I run into the bathroom, wrap it with toilet paper. I mean, it was just the whole thing was comical because then I started grabbing what I thought was towels for your hands, but it was actually the seat covers. And I was like, why are these hand towels so papery? They're sticking to my hands.
Oh my God. I wish there was I could have followed you with a video camera on this. This is so good.
So I'm, and it's such a small space that I was like, what the fuck is wrong with these hand towels? They're disintegrating in my hands. And then I realized it was the paper seat covers, and I was like, God damn it. And my hand's bleeding. Anyway, I was just like, oh my God, this is comical. So I finally get myself together. I wrap my entire hand in Kleenex and I get out, and I was like, do you have any Band-Aids? Can I have a Band-Aid? I cut my finger on the overhead bin, and they're like, oh my gosh, they're thinking oh my gosh, are you okay? And gave me some Band-Aids.
Call the security for you, please.
Would you like a warm towel? Would you like a massage? So I get my Band-Aids, I sit down, I settle. I keep pressing my hand into this Kleenex wad because I'm I'm not going to put a Band-Aid until it stops bleeding.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to get the bleeding to stop. And I was texting my mom while this was all going down and like people were boarding and I was settling and I was like, oh, I just had to like book it I did kind of relay this whole story to her and cut my finger and I'm just a hot mess. And she goes, well, good thing you're in first class, because if you were in coach, they would have let you bleed to death.
We're sorry. We don't have any Band-Aids back here. You could use the seatbelt as a tourniquet, but please know you are going to have to secure it for takeoff.
You can use the barf bag to just like, fashion yourself a Band-Aid.
Totally.
It was so funny. So finally settled. Everything was fine after that. My karma completely turned around like the second we landed, because I was first off the plane. Ooh. I managed to dodge. I don't know if you've ever flown into BWI, but
no.
Their rental car shuttles are always, they take forever. They always jam pack them, and the lines to get your rental car are insane. So I was like on a mission to get the F out of there so I could start the drive to my brother's house, because it's like an 1.5 hour drive to get to their house. So I'm sitting like, I want to get there. I want to get out of these lines. I want to get out of this airport. So I book it. The second I walk out the door, the shuttle just pulls right up with no one on it. And lets me get on and then just takes me away. Like I was the only one on the shuttle. I was like, my karma. Yeah. Yeah, and it was like he didn't wait for anyone else. Wow. He was like, hey,
he didn't wait for anybody.
Here. Yeah, you're the only one out here. We're getting you where you need to go. I got there and I had signed up for, hot tip, everybody, if you know that there's an airport that's crazy busy, sign up for like the fast break, where basically the car rental place just assigns you a car and you don't have to do the check-in. You kind of like pre-check yourself in before online.
That's a thing. It's called Fast Break.
It's called Fast Break for I rented through Budget and Avis. They're like combined at BWI. So hot tip, if you know that, like I flew into, I think it was Oakland one year, and the line for Oakland Airport was the same. It was like bananas crazy line. So if you know there's an airport that has crazy lines of a rental car, like just pre-check in for your rental car and like try to get, if they have that option, like to where you literally are just they texted me what lot my car was in when I was on the bus. So I just hopped off the bus and walked straight to my rental car. Like, so my karma was pretty good and I made it fine to my brother's house. But the other thing where I was like, oh my gosh, what is happening today? I get in the car and it was like a Dodge, I don't know, Lightning Bolt or something. It was like some Dodge electric hybrid car. I had driven one of these types of cars before, because we had like this Audi diesel car 10 plus years ago, where the drive feature has an option to where you can do like automatic or you can do manual. So where if you flip it into manual, you have these like little levers that
like
shift
the paddles on the side.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it had those little paddles. And so, but when I started the car, I didn't realize that I had accidentally flipped the car into the manual driving feature. So I'm starting to drive away and I'm like, what is wrong with this car? It's not shifting. And it was like, and I'm like, okay, now I got to turn around and turn this car back in, because this car is, and then, so finally I realized it was a shifting, like I was in manual mode. And once I figured that out, I was like, oh my God, Joy, just like, you need to just take a deep breath. And I got there just fine. I got there safely. So that was my laugh. My laugh was kind of like this very funny bloopers reel of getting there. Like everything was a bloopers moment on the way there. It just like would not stop. And the guy next to me was like one of those interesting characters. Like he had like this seat attachment that went like over his headrest that like held up his head so he could take a nap. It was very bizarre. I was like, I've never seen one of those before. But anyway, my cry was seeing my brother in his element, flying for the last time. The short version is he was the commanding officer for one of the testing squadrons in Pax River. So he changed out of that role. It's only like a year and a half assignment that they are in. So it's like he knew this was going to happen. It's just like you don't stay in this role for very long. So he changed out of that role, which means he's in a new job now, but that job is not going to require flying. And I don't think, he kind of sees like the trajectory of his career and the jobs that he will take after. it's interesting. Like when you're in the military, you kind of like know if you take this job, this means you're then going to go to this route. So this next job he's taking, he kind of sees like the job after that, he's probably not going to fly. And then the job after that, he's, you know what I mean? So he'll be up for general, I think, after his next job. And, you know, there's just not like a flying career that's going to be in his future. So this last role for him, this last job was like his last flying job. And so we got to see him fly for the last time, and it was really, really fun because they like completely did this flyover before they did the change of command ceremony where they like buzzed us. They, you know, like when they buzzed the tower on Top Gun. Yeah. They totally buzzed us as we were waiting for the ceremony to start. So we're sitting there and all of a sudden these two fighter jets just like buzz by us, and they were so loud that everyone had to cover their ears, and it scared everybody. And when he got down and we were talking, he goes, "Did everyone hear that? Did you see us do?" I'm like, what do you mean? Did anyone see it? Like we literally almost ducked thinking that we were going to get, you know,
was he like laughing
struck by
like,
a fighter jet?
Oh
yeah, he thought it was hilarious. He goes, "We tried to do that," and so it was really great. But I'm just so proud of him. He is such a smart. To see him speak in front of this squadron and talking in front of all these people and just wow, it was so cool. You know, he knows such interesting people and he knows a lot of the astronauts. It's so amazing to see him in his element. So that was my cry, just to have that moment and feeling really blessed that my parents could make it. My mom just had her knee surgery, so flying all the way out there I know was not easy for her. Yeah, it was amazing. A big week.
That's amazing. I love that you all were able to be there. And I'm really sad for your brother that he's not going to be able to fly anymore.
I'm really sad too.
Well, so he flies for the military. Does he have like he can fly just like regular like a pilot's license, right? Like, or do you have to get that too? Because these are different jets. Like, he could just fly a regular plane if he wanted to.
He very likely could just get on any plane, really. But I'm sure there's logistics of what type of license you have. But the fact that he's been working in this test squadron where he's had to learn so many different types of planes. Yeah. He was telling me the plane that he flew just when we were there. Oh my gosh, I can't remember what it was. I'm so sorry. It may have been the F-35, but it basically can land like hovering by just like lowering itself to the ground, which I'm like, you can do that? And
you can. Back in the day, they used to call them, I think, the Harrier carrier jet, something like that, because they would just land straight down on the ground. Like you wouldn't have to come in. Like just, it's something with the engines and thrust and all that type of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
It used to be called a Harrier jet.
Okay. You know a lot about
back
planes.
In the 80s.
Because I know you're very into back in the 80s, yeah. But it's so
I went to so many air shows. I loved it.
It was amazing. Anytime I get to see him fly or anytime I get to see him in his element, we're all very, 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 very proud of him. So wonderful trip, wonderful memories. Got to see a lot of family.
Cool.
All right. So this week we're going to review some, it's mid-2025. Somehow that happened. I don't understand how that
June
happened.
Heading into July.
June.
I think we all probably talked about some goals back in January. I know we did on this podcast, right?
Yeah.
Like, what's our plans for the year? And I think we did a check-in even about 3 months out, maybe sometime in March.
Like how's
everybody's doing?
Yep.
And now it's about halfway through the year, and we were thinking, wow, how are our own goals going? And
how are our goals going? And what do we want the rest of the year to look like? I selfishly also picked this topic because I've been in this, I don't want to say it's a rut. It just, sometimes I feel idle with goals. It's such a, I can talk about this in a minute, but it's such a good reminder for me to kind of work through this in my brain. So reflecting on goals for 2025, where did you stand with, when January hit? What were your goals for 2025?
I think, well, first of all, I want to say I kind of struggled remembering these because I'm sure I wrote them down, but do you ever like write things down in certain journals or on pieces of paper and then they just stack up and then you're like, I have no idea where that is.
I'm glad you mentioned that because this is some of what I'm interested in is that we set goals, but I don't want to say we forget about them, but I think we will tend to feel guilty if we forget or that we go off track or whatever we want to call it, when in reality, maybe it wasn't something that we really were passionate about. And that's also okay, that your interests have changed or something has shifted. And I'm also really interested in how we all, I think, handle goals differently. So setting an intention or a goal in January may not work for everyone. I think that we even talked about this in January where Chelsea did the 30 Days of New, which was like a daily affirmation, daily task of something to focus on. And that's all you needed to do was for 30 days, because beyond that, other things take over. And I think it's also just the excitement of a new year. And that is what fades, because the year then just continues. And so we're like, yeah, 2025, woohoo. But the excitement of a new year and new possibilities is, I think that really just lives in January. And then after January, we're kind of, unless you sign up for, let's pretend it's like a marathon in June. You're like, okay, I have to do this in June. So you have this like very specific date that you're focused on. Other than that, I just feel like we all just kind of need to give ourselves some grace that like January is just kind of an exciting month for a new year of energy.
Yeah, because I think it feels new and shiny, right? It's like, oh, the new toy. Let's play with it.
It always feels new and shiny, and it's exciting, and we're just off the holidays at celebrations, and New Year's Eve is always really fun and sparkly, and it just always has this, what's the word I'm looking for? Ritual. There's a ritual to a new year, which I think is really important, and rituals are great. So I think what you were saying is like, when you had to think about it, has it changed? Have your goals changed?
Yeah, I don't know. I think they have. I can remember kind of this overall one that I wanted to, I think my word, because we were talking about words for the year, and I was thinking about like reinvention, like I wanted to reinvent myself. Maybe I have, but not in the way I expected I was going to. Because, I think I had some kind of goals, like as far as career does, like shifting out of my old job and trying to do something else, and then just some maybe athletic goals. And I would say career stuff, fine. I ended up shifting, but my like athletic goals have just kind of stalled out. Like it has been so hard. I'm really glad like you mentioned this topic, because for me, it's been so hard for me to like find the motivation to kind of actually get to the gym. It's been so hard.
Which is interesting, because that's been a huge pattern and hobby, and
it was a routine, right? So I can do the routines, because kind of thinking about it in relation to like motivation and discipline, because you talk about that routine part. So I think of discipline as being the routine, right? Like motivation is like that spark that kind of like gets you excited about something or to do it. I don't have any problem with discipline. I'm very disciplined. It's sometimes the getting started is difficult. And I think for me, what's happened with this is I've just had a lot of changes around kind of my athletic community. Like the gym I was going to wasn't feeling safe. So I think that's kind of all piled up, and I changed gyms, and I'm just feeling kind of bored in my workouts. And I don't know, do you just ever get like, I'm just kind of bored? And like, but I don't know what I need either.
But you don't know what you need. Oh my gosh, yeah. I so relate.
Does anybody relate to this?
Yeah, I so relate to that.
Yeah, so my goal, part of my goals have kind of come to a standstill, I feel like. And I'm trying to figure out how I can like get this back on track. And so I think this is perfect, because I think everybody can relate to. I think you were even saying like, you can tell us about kind of what you're talking about. Like, what are you finding with your goals as far as what you set for the year and where you are now?
Yeah. So the beginning, I'll start with the first question, or the part about like for this year specifically, my word for the year was abundance. And I picked last year was, oh my gosh, it was something like that had to do with change and challenges, which was all about change and challenge last year. Like everything was thrown at me in the kitchen sink with like the move and losing the house and like finding the house. I mean, that was like, okay, I'm done with challenge. And I think it was growth. I think that was what it was. So this year I was like, okay, I'm going to focus on abundance. And that has been in my brain. Like I think about it daily. But what I've found is that abundance looks different than what I think you always have this expectation of what it's going to be. I've really had to look at it differently, meaning, like the first month in January, I got an offer for like this free, like all these free facials at this place that my friend works at. And I was like, wow, cool, abundance. Like that was like a huge piece of a sign. As the year continued, I thought more about, well, I want to make more money, or I want to do things that generate more income. I think which is still fine. And it also led me down some paths that were a little frustrating, to where I had to step back and be like, I have a lot of space, and I have a lot of breathing room in my life right now to do the things that really bring me joy, to spend time with family, to puppy raise, which was huge this year. That's something that we really missed doing, and now we can do that again. So the abundance I'm seeing more as you have the space and the flexibility to do exactly what you want to do right now in your life. And that is amazing. And you do not need to take that for granted. So that's something that I'm still thinking about, like, well, what does that look like for the next year? Because I think sometimes when I have not expectation, but you kind of like have an idea what let's take abundance, for example, what that's going to look like, and it doesn't work out how you think it's going to work out, you're kind of like, I idle into it. So I'm coasting a little bit right now, which is not a bad thing, but I'm just kind of coasting versus actively looking for where else I can have abundance. I also find it really funny that I'm looking right now on my screensaver because I made a dream board at the beginning of the year around abundance. It's interesting as I look at it, it doesn't really fit with what,
Really?
With what's happening.
It doesn't match. Okay.
It doesn't match, and nothing, and I'm not saying like all these things have to come true per se, but I might need to scrap it and start a new one, because it's all very materialistic things. Not a bad thing, but they are very much related to money, power, like material things. So things that cost a lot of money. So I'm looking at this going, I don't know if that's like necessarily, because it was almost like the universe was telling me at the beginning of the year, because I was all about this like money focus and abundance of things, where the universe is clearly showing me signs of like, you have so much space and flexibility and time and energy and of your comforts. Anyway, so I think kind of reining it back in here, as far as the second part of your question of like what we've discussed and relating it to you is, I'd be curious to talk, because we're like around the same age. I still have a really hard time being where I'm at in my life, because when I'll speak for myself, but I kind of feel like you might have the same experience. But like when you're in your 20s, you're developing your life. You're like, what's my career? I'm finishing school. I'm trying to find a house, maybe a partner, maybe people want to have kids. Like you're in this like sweet spot of building your life, of what are you going to do with your life. And then when I got married in my 30s and we bought a house and I got into my career, and then my goals shifted a little bit, but I was still pretty ambitious with things I wanted to accomplish with my career. And I was like, okay, I want to climb the ladder. I want to get manager roles. I want to do this education. I want to, I did these projects and I won some regional Emmys. I was very excited. These were all kind of like career, status, clout. And then towards the end of my 30s into my 40s, my goals stopped. And maybe I'm not being totally fair to myself, but I no longer have that same clarity. I was always very clear of what I wanted to do, maybe to a fault, because I often took on like 10 things at a time. I was always like working 2 jobs. I would work a full-time job, and I was a fitness instructor, at night. Like I was doing a lot even through my 30s. And so I struggle sometimes that I feel like I'm not matching that same goal energy, because I don't have the same I don't have clarity when you're like, I don't even know what I want.
Do you even have that type of stamina anymore?
Not really. I mean, Scott and I always joke that I'm like, older, I want to work smarter, not harder. Like we both joke all the time. You just took a sip of your drink, too. You're like,
it was almost like a beer. Like, I'm right there with you.
Exactly.
Sweets. It's water, everyone. Please know that. By the way, Waterloo, if you're listening, you're in Austin, Texas, you should sponsor us, because I drink your water all the time.
Awesome. Yay. Love an Austin, Texas brand. But it's like, you're right. Work smarter, not harder. And I think I'm comparing myself to this younger version because I was thinking about this the other day.
You're getting in that comparison trap. Like we just talked about that, didn't we?
I feel like, yes. And I feel
on another episode, everybody.
On another episode. But I also feel like a little idle where I'm a little bored and I don't know what to do with my life.
Yeah,
and I'm looking at, I think I'm a little bit in this like weird space of I'm 47 and I'm acting like my life is over. Like I'm acting like I'm like, well, I guess this is it for my life. I guess I'll just coast through this job and make some podcasts and raise some dogs. Like there's nothing wrong with that. But I also just get really, I don't know, there's a part of my brain that really thrives on accomplishing goals. I think a lot of us feel good when we accomplish a goal. And because I don't know what those goals need to be and I'm a little bored, I'm like freaking out inside. You know, and that's been a problem I've been dealing with for quite some time. Like this is not new. Yeah. This has been going on for a while. Yeah.
I feel like I can relate to this too, because I feel like, so you're looking at like achievement. You want to keep achieving. That's always been your mindset. And so I get in this mindset, I think, with my workouts too. Like I was working out for something, and right now I'm kind of like half-assed. Like, I'm doing these bike rides that are like 20, 30 miles and trying to get better so I can, ride longer, but it's not a freaking race. It's just a ride, it's a rally, right? A bunch of bicycles get out there. I feel like I just don't have kind of that particular achievement, like trying to compete essentially. Because sometimes I think achievement is kind of competition, which kind of goes back to us being competitive.
Yes, for sure.
It's part of what's going on with you where you feel like I'm not achieving because you're not like in the game competing, even though I know you don't want to compete against other people at work.
No,
but I kind of do. Who you
are. Just kidding. Kind of do. No, but that's a really good point. I actually think about this. Have you ever heard of the Strengths Finder? There was like I can't remember the name of the. Anyway, there's like an assessment. It's almost like a personality test, but it's this like really big test that you can take that talks about your strengths at work. And one of my strengths was like competition. Like one of my top strengths was being competitive in a good way that like that fuels me. Yeah. And maybe I need to rely and go read that report again of like, okay, you need to like really play to your strengths here of like putting yourself in situations that are scary and competitive that really, really make me feel alive. But I think what I just keep doing is like comparing myself to this younger version of me that was so clear. Like it was always like, I was going from one goal to the other. Like it was so clear to me. I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this. And I got this job at this gym and I'm going to teach spin classes. And then I was like, oh, okay. And then I got this opportunity to, work on a project at work. And then I worked with this television station and then we won all these awards. Like it just like everything just flowed one thing to the next. And it was so effortless. And now I just feel like, well, what do I do now? Like everything just feels so boring. Yeah, but I'm taking accountability on myself to like, I'm not looking for things either because I'm not super clear about what I want. And maybe I'm a little tired at the same time.
Yeah. What I'm hearing a little bit about you when you were growing up, like the 20s, 30s type thing, is I heard you it almost sounded like these things kind of just fell to you, like they came to you. It wasn't like you sat and said, I'm going to be a fitness instructor doing this one. I'm going to do this. Right. I didn't hear, I've written this whole plan and goals like, I'm going to win some Emmys. That's my goal. It just kind of happened. The opportunities presented themselves to you. Yes. And I would say opportunities are still presenting themselves to you, but maybe in a different way than your 20-year-old brain is thinking.
Fair. That's very fair. Yeah.
And so you could still have that.
Yeah. That's a really good point. And if I'm being totally honest with myself, I am not. I think if we're talking about motivation, my motivation isn't as uppity and jumpy because I'm like, I'm kind of tired. I'm a little bit tired. Like I fall into the creature comforts, which I also blame COVID. COVID really gave me this excuse to relax where I was like, okay, the rat race has calmed down. So I don't have to be like so competitive with everyone. It was almost like this, everything like leveled the playing field. And then I got a little too comfortable, really enjoyed being isolated, really enjoyed, I was like, oh, I don't have to do this CrossFit gym every single day. I mean, granted, I also got sick and I had to stop doing CrossFit for a while because I was really ill. But that was also just like this permission to stop. And I think because of that, I'm not saying I'm just like laying around all day, but I do love to just watch reality TV and check out. And I think that there's a little bit of me that I'm like, you're getting a little too comfortable on that. Like, can you check that a little bit to where, yeah, I think so.
I think you are. Okay.
So I'm going to just noodle on
Maybe
that.
you're being a little too hard on yourself too, and you just need to accept where you're at right now, which is one of the most difficult things. And I'm sure everybody out there is thinking, I hate it when my therapist says, maybe you should accept where you're at. Because it's like, what the fuck is that advice? But I mean, it's good advice, everyone.
The other day, my horoscope said, like, maybe being ahead of the game, maybe productivity today looks like rest. And I was like,
ooh, that's...
So, but
your 20-year-old brain is like, the fuck it is.
I don't know. I do enjoy life. I really enjoy, getting in the mix of things. And I think also trips bring that out of me, where I felt super nostalgic for my younger self because I was always flying to Maryland to visit my brother at the Naval Academy. And I was really reflecting on who I was as a person back then. But it fuels me to know, like, okay, so for you, for instance, because I feel like I've been talking this whole time, but like, what is your motivation, or at least like, what are the things that you're trying to focus on for the rest of the year?
I'd say for the rest of the year, I'm looking at my vision board right now. And so I actually am accomplishing several things on my vision board. It's just not have to do with like my athletic part of me. Okay. So I feel like I've let myself down. I mean, I'm still working out, but I'll be honest, I'm not being a 10. I might be like a 6 in my workouts.
Do we need to sign up for another High Rocks to like motivate each other?
Maybe, because I might die. I would die at this point.
We should do it and then just sign up for individuals and then really have to get our shit in gear.
Oh, geez. Yeah. We really have to get it in gear. But yeah, so I'm kind of just going to continue to focus on what's been working. Like, I have this on my vision board. I wanted to create like a backyard kind of oasis. I wanted to plant a lot of flowers for butterfly, like have a butterfly garden. It's totally blooming right now. I have power washed my fence and restained it, so that looks nice. I'm getting ready to work on my back patio and making that kind of zen, nice, relaxing place. So I'm just kind of like shifting my focus. And then I feel like I'm going to lower the bar for myself and stop being like comparing myself to who I was, and accept where I'm at right now with my workouts, and that getting there is half the battle. So my plan is just to drive there. And if I choose not to go in, which I'm going to say is never going to happen, I'm not going to drive myself and not go in. Or if I just can tell myself, I'm going to walk in and maybe I walk on the treadmill today. I guarantee you that's not going to happen. I'm actually going to do my workout. But that's what I'm going to tell myself. It's just
the
get
permission.
There. And if I have to decide to sleep in my gym clothes the night before because that makes it easier to get out of bed, then I'm doing it. But I'm just going to lower the bar and start with some really tiny habits.
Yeah, because then, like you said, comparing yourself to this like previous version of what you were working on makes you feel like you're not doing anything, and you actually are. And I love what you said about just kind of like being where you are, focusing on where you are right now. So I think that's the lesson.
Yeah. Actually, I saw this kind of meme or something on Instagram where it was talking about, it was a woman kind of around our age, and it was like, trying to prepare for when you're like in your 70s or 80s, because there's certain things you can do now to make sure like you're physically fit for then. And I was looking at it, like all the things they were saying to do, and even kind of the weighted workouts. It wasn't telling me to go lift 200 pounds. It was like just lifting actually weights. And I'm like, I'm doing all those things. So I'm actually doing what's going to help me later in life when I'm 70 or 80. I'll still be able to open a jar of pickles at that point, is my plan.
Yeah, I have a friend that's always like, I just want to be able to garden when I'm 80 without pain.
Yeah, like the up and downs and being on knees or whatever.
And downs and like just, tending to the garden, planting flowers, making a meal, just the simple things. But
so what are you going to do to kind of boost your mood to get you feeling better about where you are?
That's a great question, Rebecca. I'm like, that's a great question. I like what you said about just kind of just accepting where you are, but also looking for opportunities, or at least opening my eyes to the opportunities that may be already presenting themselves, because maybe I'm not giving myself enough credit if it's not this like burning bush, staring me in the face, flashing lights type of opportunity. Because I will also admit I'm very hard on myself that if things aren't the best of the best, then I'm not doing anything. You know what I mean? It's very much like, if you're not striving for another marathon, then what's the point? I mean, I'm kind of being I'm over exaggerating.
Right. It's like, run another marathon,
but it's kind of like, it's got to be a pretty big, lofty goal, because I do fall into the comparison trap of like, I want to make a difference in this world. I want to, and I can hear like my puppy raiser friends, if they're listening to this, being like, you are making a difference in this world. Like, you're raising a service dog. And I get that, but I also like, my brain works in this like constant of like raising the bar of like, what else can I do? What else can I do? Not a bad thing, but it also really, it's kind of like that perfect is the enemy of good. So the long-winded answer is, just the short answer to that long-winded answer is like accepting where I am now, recognizing and being grateful for where I am now, and looking for the opportunities that may be already like right in front of my face.
Right. And they may feel different than they did back when you were 20.
Yeah, that's so true. And I think that's just really hard to accept.
It is. And allow yourself to keep doing things you enjoy, like watching your reality TV shows. That's okay.
Yeah, I really do love them. I really do.
Well, you always have great recs, so.
I did. Well, I will say lastly too, that when you said that about like, it's not going to feel the same, I think that also made me realize that I have no issue with aging. I just do miss that feeling that I had and the clarity that I had, because it was just a different time and decade for me in my 20s or 30s. I don't want to look back 20 years from now and be like, wow, I really miss where I was when I was 47, because I think I'm missing out on a lot of life by always comparing myself to other phases of my life, either past or future.
Have you ever had a past life regression then?
I had someone do like a hypnosis thing. This was so long ago, and I barely remember it. Why have you?
It must have not been that fulfilling for you. I'm just curious, because I feel like there's something here about your need for achievement that's maybe really, really deep. You could maybe talk to a therapist about that.
Yeah. I have a really... I like how you snuck that in. Anyway.
I've got a Groupon for therapy, so.
I know a few people.
I know some, yeah. Yeah, so obviously mid-year slump is really hard for us too. We talk to people about goals all the time, and we are struggling ourselves. It is so hard, and it's okay because we're all in it together. We're all in the same club, the Laugh Cry Club, and we're just all trying to show up and survive and be our best selves. And sometimes we don't even know what our best self looks like, and that's okay.
And that's okay. Like today, just take it. Today we're doing great. Today we are up and at 'em. The sun is shining.
Let's look at the tiny stuff. Like I think about Chelsea. Chelsea always talks about going back and going small. And it's like, I think that's important, because sometimes that's about the reset. Like, let's go small and think about what does really matter at this point.
Yep.
Does it really matter that I'm in the gym 5 days a week, or that I said I was going to read this book? I was going to have this book completed for my book club this weekend, and I'm not going to complete it. I mean, like, that's okay. Just maybe you are at least reading some, or you're doing something. It's not like you have to throw it all away.
Right. And it's okay if you set a goal and you don't meet it, or it changes, because you're like, okay, that just gives me more information too. Like maybe I actually my heart wasn't totally in it. I do love the going small
that's okay.
reminder.
And guess what? If the goal isn't working now, throw it out and think of something new. You can change whatever you want.
Well, on that note, I would love to hear from people if they have...
I do want to hear from people.
Ideas, suggestions of how they're getting through that phase of life. It really does help when we share. It helps me, at least. I like to hear from people. Selfishly, just tell us for my sake.
Because I need some. We can get motivation from each other too. So feel free to share. And
this is the Laugh Cry Club. We need each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it kind of feels a little bit lonely right now out there. It seems like, I don't know why. Mm-hmm. I'm feeling that way anyway.
I feel lonely too. I think that's another part of it, is I don't think about this as intensely when I'm like doing stuff with people and being around the people I like. So thank you everyone for tuning in for another week of our podcast. As always, if you have not yet left a rating and review, you can do so in the app that you're listening on. Really helps us get the show out to more people, and you can always share it with a friend. Email us laughcryclub@gmail.com if you have a question that you would like us to answer on the show, or send us a DM. We are on Instagram @laughcryclub, and we will see you next week. Maybe we'll have some insight and motivation.
Maybe.
Answers.
Or maybe not. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
That's life, baby.